to my channel. I do hope y'all keeping it cool, kind, and classy, of course. And today I'm going to be talking about the unseen, y'all. Because I've gone a really long time not talking about the reason that I have made my channel, because it is such a sensitive and touchy subject. And it's hard for me to talk about because I'm already thoroughly aware that there have been so many to not appreciate the way that I use my words. And I know that it offends people, but aside from that, I'm protected and I'm loved and I am me. So there's truly no point in hiding, because if you say everything that you feel and somebody tries to physically or emotionally or verbally stop you, then that just goes to show everything about them that you probably already got the feeling of them being alike. So you already knew that this person was that. You just didn't want to accept that they were that. You just didn't want to accept that they were that because you knew that it was dangerous. However, when you thoroughly experiment with yourself and you thoroughly indulge and open up to yourself, you start to understand that you can match truly any energy that you need to in order to stay safe, in order to be here now. Thought I saw something. In order to just love yourself, right? I think it was just the light in my hair. I feel so surveilled, y'all. That's one way to say it. That's one way to say what I'm feeling. I don't want to talk too heavy on it because I already know what it entails. However, I am getting really tired of putting myself in a box to the point where I can't say anything that I want to. Because I'm getting put in a situation every day to be in danger, to not feel safe, to feel unloved, to feel like I'm not enough, to just overall feel like my whole vibration is never going to accumulate what I need in order to get to my next chapter. And see, that's the vicious cycle, isn't it? Because nobody deserves that. Though some people have to live in that. Some people truly, let me tell you something about this energy. Some people have to live in that because that's their energy and that's just what it is. And they continuously are, I want to say, contracting that. I want to say like they're continuously establishing that spiritual karma, y'all. And that's what it is. Though, when you get involved with the wrong people and maybe you hang out with somebody that you don't trust, maybe, in the past you might have had a family member that you just wanted to give everything, you just wanted to show up for, and blah, 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 and they ended up using it against you. So now, let me tell you something. Unpopular opinion, but you're carrying the spiritual karma that they did not want to pay the debt for. So, now, it's real cute because 2/3 of my audience cut out when I said that. So what does that friggin' say, y'all? What the frig does that say? And on top of that, while I'm at it, I am exhausted of feeling so observed. And And having a channel and making content is different from this feeling. It's the feeling of just being in a laboratory. Like, and I'm not no CLONE, y'all. I'm not that. I'm not that. You cannot get this from a petri dish, okay? Okay, that's just what it is. So, I do get tired of feeling so observed, and I feel like what it really comes down to is when you know that your lip gloss is popping, then all the boys is gonna be stopping. And that's what it is, okay? All the boys is gonna be stopping. Anyway, I'm not gonna get too deep into that, but I do get really exhausted of just feeling like I constantly have to watch what I say, and I constantly have to watch, how I display myself and who I show up as, because at the end of the day, I made my channel to show up how I cannot show up in the world that is my environment. And it's really ironic because now it's getting to the point where I can't I can't use my channel for what I had initially established it for. Because if I do that, then I get watched. But it's like, being seen is one thing, but being hovered over, now that's something that I've already fled from. I've fled from that. So to currently be experiencing that is just so depleting. It's so depleting. And I always feel like I'm getting followed. I always feel like I'm being watched. I mean, I feel all of these things all the time. And I'm really proud of myself because I've maintained my sanity up to this point. And it's like, people will look at me and say, oh my god, oh, Kia, yeah, she went friggin' bonkers, dude. Yeah, no, she could not hold her rocker, bro. Let me tell you something about her. So, like, that's all fine and jiffy. I really don't care what people who are always going to be at the same 9-to-5 job until they get their 401k when they're 85 have to say about me. I don't. I don't. So, the issue is that while I don't really care what people have to say about me, it's gotten to the point where, okay, so I'm about to get a little woo-woo on y'all, right? So, inevitably, when people see that you are going to continue being yourself and you're not going to take no for an answer when it comes to being yourself, they're then going to attack you in a different manner, in a different realm. So, take that how you will, but just be aware, and I thoroughly recommend the cleansing. I recommend the bubble baths. Throw some friggin' essential in there, y'all, and just like some salt, whatever you gotta do. Because it's really getting to the point where it is dangerous to go outside. And, excuse me, I just feel this every day. And it makes me put myself in a perpetuated state of isolation. But I know that I don't deserve it. So it's that much more frustrating. And I'm trying to choose my words as wisely as possible. But this is a paradigm that is not even of my own karmatic result. And I'm saying all of this because this is something that people continuously feel on the inside, but nobody ever approaches it. Well, a majority of people do not approach it. A majority of people do not approach it because it is terrifying. And that's honestly so contradicting. And it can put people in a true state of this back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So I'm tired because I've been doing that back and forth, and now it's getting to the point where it's not even my option, like it's just this feeling of getting torn from one place to the other. And it's like, somebody is gonna watch me talk and they're gonna feel that in their heart, and I know that, so I'm not really worried about that. So there's gonna be somebody that sees me and knows that I know what they know. And I'm not here to just not talk about this feeling, because this is what my channel was initially based on. So while it can put me in a state of paranoia, I would rather be in that state and be aware that there is a possibility that I'm not the only one here. I'm not the only one here. And I've been ignoring that for a really long time. Because when I was a kid, I used to get horrific nightmares. I'm talking stuff that was out of my conceptualization. And still is. I mean, I get fractions of these glimpses now. It's just not as intense as it used to be because I've really blocked my eye, y'all. And I can get shadowed for saying certain words on YouTube and TikTok, which is insanity. It's insanity because I established this platform so that I could have, a void to talk into about everything that I feel. And the mental tarnish and the baggage and the lies and the misuse and all of these things that are being projected onto me. I don't know who I am. I don't. And this is because I've never had a genuine and authentic, vulnerable environment in order to discover all of myself. So it gets just so monotonous and black and white, and it gets bleak. And when you are continuously finding yourself by yourself because you said no, it becomes this realization that you're an ex. And this is not of authentic source. This is not of authentic source, right? This is something that is man-made, and that's why I get so frustrated. And a lot of people don't get it, and I'm okay with that. I really am. But when you go and 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 nobody gets it, then it's just exactly everything that you've been trying to walk away from up to this point. 1441, y'all. And I just feel abandoned. I feel abandoned in a unresponsive and stagnant dimension. That's what I feel like. So, you know, I'm really grateful because I see myself, but I don't get the luxury of thoroughly being myself. I don't get that. I don't get to have that right now. Because, and if you're with me, then you're with me, and if you're not, then you're not. I'm tired of explaining myself. I won't do it anymore. So, my energy, like, if you know, you know. Like I say, like, you either got it or you don't got it. And if you don't got it, you could have it, but some people are so comfortable in the matrix and in a simulation that a lot of people don't want to accept that they have so much more to offer. And I feel in danger just saying that alone. And it's so sickening. It's so sickening because I just want to express myself. I just want to be happy. I just want to show up and get to be my fullest self because I had a friggin' good day. I don't really get all those luxuries, Like I get to sit in one spot and I have a place to put my stuff. I used to be homeless, so I didn't really have that, but now I do, and that's one step in the right direction. But, parts of me feel like I went 10 backwards because, I have somewhere to put my stuff, but I'm not happy where I am, and I feel 17. I feel abandoned. Like, I just feel abandoned, and I've always felt this way. I've always felt like there was so much more for me, and I always felt like it was getting taken away from me, and I've never been able to figure out what that thing is that's taking it from me. And if you get it, you get it. Like, that's just what it is. If you don't, whatever, bye. But I've always felt like I am just this product. I've always just felt like a product. I've never really had space to just know me. And I've never really had space to just, like, thoroughly understand what the word joy means. I've never had that. And I'm not okay with that, and it's not okay, but I've accepted it, and that's one huge step in the right direction once again. So, although I'm in a negative environment, and I feel like nothing friggin' makes sense here, and I feel so just, I truly feel archived. I feel like I got swept under the rug. Just like some certain files that I can think of. I just feel so gone. And when I say gone, I just feel like I'm on a whole different planet. It's like, it's so funny because I wake up every day and, okay, so I go to the store and I'm surrounded by people and I buy things. And these are the resources that are provided to the people. But it's like, I don't actually feel like I exist. I don't feel like I exist. And it's a luxury. It's a luxury to feel like you exist. And, A lot of people get that luxury naturally. And I understand that this comes with specified debts. I do. But a lot of people are born and they just get to feel that fullness. And they get to feel like they're a part of general society. And they get to feel like they exist. And I don't. And I know that other people feel this way. And that's why it's even harder, because I just can't find anybody to talk to about it. And it's like, I've had a few therapists, and I've done this and I've done that. I used to do meds. I used to be on meds. They made me sicker. They just made me sicker. And, I had a friend who was on meds. They made her crazy sicker. And, she was just so much more sensitive. And she was on, a different type of dosage. So, now I just feel like I get poisoned. I just feel like as a general society, we're just being that. And the hardest part is that I know I'm not supposed to say anything that I just said, because it's true. But, the more that I speak up for myself, and the more that I say how I feel, and the more that I'm genuine about what is in my heart, the more that I realize that I've come this far because there is more to do for me, and there's more people for me to meet, and there's so much more life left. But it's hard to remember. I feel like something is trying to erase me. And I feel like when I go outside, nobody sees me. I feel like when I wake up in the morning, it wouldn't matter to so many people if I didn't. And that hurts me, because everybody should be caring about everybody. That's what we're here for. And to see the way that people treat each other sometimes does something to me. That I'm still trying to understand. It's a feeling I'm still trying to understand. But it changes you. When you really sit back and you look at the way that people treat each other, it changes you. And then you just have to sit with this possibility of insanity. It's something that you just have to get used to. You wake up every day, is this going to be the day that I lose everything within myself? No, you know what? Probably not. Probably not, because when you work so hard to get to a point of loving yourself with open arms, to just lose yourself after that, it would be unjust. And then you already have all the unjust experiences of the world today, 24/42. So you already have all of these things that are going on. You already see all of these things happening, all of this negativity, all of this pain, all this doubt and famine, all these things. There's already so much of that going on. So, I don't know what that is. Oh, I think I scratched me. I don't know. But you already see all of these things. And to not find joy. Like, you got joy within yourself, but to not be part of a society where you feel like you can just be safe and live in your truth without feeling in danger, 25, then it's just this even more, even deeper sense of unjust experience. So it's like, that's not what life is for. Life is not to exist within fear, living in a box, hoping that you're not going to go crazy the next day. Because that's just not truth. And untruth is hatred. And hatred is not real. Because nobody actually doesn't love each other deep down. That's just not what that is. You know, people got problems, and people got pain, and people got childhood traumas that they didn't work on, so they projected on each other. That is not hatred. It's misplaced rage. So, you know, I don't get a lot of views right now. And I will someday. I will, because it's, you know, that's my justice. And that's, like, success is my justice, y'all. Success is my revenge. I'm not gonna go out and do to people what they did to me. I'm not gonna go out and break all these hearts of the, you know, statued hearts that have broken my own. I'm not gonna go out and make people feel the same way that I feel when I wake up in the morning. I'm not gonna do that. Because I would be no better than the person who had initially hurt me in the first place to even put me on this path of just this bleak experience. I mean, I've had so many years of just black and white. And I'm still understanding what it means. Because I've suffered. I'm talking, I've suffered. And I am currently suffering. And it's like, what do you do when you don't know what to do? I've always known what to do. And the past year or two, I haven't known what to do. And it's like, okay, I get not knowing what to do for like maybe a month or whatever, but this is just, I don't know what this means. And this is something that also bothers me because I've always been able to figure things out. I've always been able to solve puzzles and get to the next room. I've always been able to figure things out within myself that were kind of causing emotional turmoil. But I can't crack this. And maybe that's the issue, because it doesn't make sense. And sometimes maybe it just doesn't make sense. And I think it's so funny when people ask me if I'm okay. Because I'm not. I'm not okay. And it's not okay. And it doesn't make any sense. 29. Yeah, well, frick you. I don't care. 'Cause you're here. You're the only one here. So what does that say about you? Talk. It says you a lot of talk. So girl, bye. You got the wrong one. No, you could get that energy right back. I don't care. well, then maybe you should go find something better to do. Because it's awfully awkward for you to be spending your young, youthful years hating on somebody that found something different to do with their life. Girl, bye. You wasted my time. So anyway. I'm not gonna talk too much on tarot. I am gonna pull a couple cards, but I don't want to get way too deep into it. So basically, yeah, I mean, everything I just said, I really felt like I needed to get that out of my system, and somebody is gonna see that and, like, feel like, you know what, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And if it doesn't make sense to you, that's okay too. Confirmation burp. Excuse me. Sometimes I gotta cry. Sometimes I just gotta cry. Whatever, right? Sometimes I just gotta cry because nothing makes sense to me right now. And I get really hard on myself about it. 3131. I'm so hard on myself about not understanding my environment. Because, I'll say that this is the last thing I'm gonna say. I spent so much time growing that I forgot how rapidly I was growing. And then when I got to the point where I was so grown mentally, and, it depends on who you ask, but I freaking love myself, and I really am so proud of the person I've become. So, when I got to the point where I was like, oh my gosh, I can hear myself think, and, like, I don't know what these people are talking about. I physically don't understand what these people are saying, because they got stuck in first grade, right? So, when you spend so much time growing, and you forget that you spent that time growing, and then you get to that point of, like, relative enlightenment. I'm really not where I want to be at all, but I'm getting so close. And, when you get there, you just kind of look around, and you're like, wow, this is my environment. Oh, yeah, you know what? There's the crickhead on the corner. Talk about, he's got to go to his shift that he lost the job of 12 years ago. And, there's this bush that's drowning from all of the pollution. And, this sidewalk has been indented for 3 years. So it's like, just this same day experience. It's literally like, those movies. I already know you know those movies. It's like the movies 3333 when that person wakes up and they're like, oh, like, oh my gosh, the clock is gonna go off in 2 minutes, and my ex-boyfriend is gonna show up at the door in like an hour, and my boss is gonna call me and tell me I don't need to go in today. Like, so it's just like, you already fucking know. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm trying to chill on that a little. I'm trying to be as family friendly as possible, but I'm not really like that. I'm not really that, y'all. I'm just not really that guy. So, yeah, I mean, this is the feeling of just waking up every day, experiencing the same exact thing over and over and over and over, until you break that cycle. And, I've watched these movies, and I'm like, what am I missing? 3434. I've watched these movies, and I've said, I'm trying to figure out, like, where I went wrong. I'm trying to figure out why I'm repeating the same day over and over and over. 3444. And it isn't this sense of, oh my gosh, I lived this exact day over and over and over. It's this sense of, I have felt this feeling over and over and over and over. And you just want to bash your head against the wall. You do. But you shouldn't. Even though you could, you shouldn't. Because you're only hurting yourself at that point. And that's it. So, yeah, I've just been trying to kind of figure out, like, what I was missing. I'm like, okay, well, this person was a friggin' shoot person. This person sucked. I mean, they were mean to waitresses, and they were mean to their friends, and they always told their mom to frig off, like, whatever it was. You know, so this person was just an awful person. And I will say one thing about me, you know, I don't fully see myself right now. I will say, I have been an extremely kind person up to this point, and I got shoot on for it. I got cheated on for it, y'all. So after I got shredded on, I'm sitting here, I'm like, okay, so I'm probably getting skated off of because, you know, maybe I'm just, like, not a good person, and maybe that's why my days keep repeating continuously, and it's not that. You know, you always watch a movie and you see, like, the cliches, and you're like, you know what, I kind of see why this person has to, like, carry out their good karma before they, you know, can break this cycle. But it's not always the easiest explanation. It's not always the explanation that makes the most sense. Sometimes you really gotta sit back and you gotta look at, like, what are you doing? Who are you? And if you can relatively, excuse me, if you can relatively understand who you are, and you can also understand to a certain level that you do everything that you can to show up as the best version of yourself, then that's good. That's all you can do. But if you guilt trip yourself because your environment sucks, there's nothing you can do about that. And you will wake up in the same exact experience, in the same exact bed, in the same exact day, over and over and over and over and over and over, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years. And then next thing you know, you're saying, you know, like, maybe this is just my life. Maybe this is just what I'm supposed to experience for the rest of my life. No. No. Because that would not be of a higher experience. Like, and we are specifically doing this to become better versions of ourselves. So if we're just friggin' supposed to be in the same perpetuated cycle of psychosis for the rest of our life, then we're truly not going to get anywhere at all. And we're not going to experience anything better. And maybe it isn't psychosis. Maybe it's depression. Maybe it's anxiety. Maybe it's fear-mongered paralysis. Maybe that's just all it is. Maybe it's just projection. Whatever it is. You know, these are not mental illnesses. These are things that have been put on you and spoken over you to make you feel less than yourself. Let me tell y'all. That's what that is. These are not things that come from the highest creator, okay? And the highest creator, no, you know what? That's a conversation for a different day. So, sometimes you just gotta cry on live. And that's okay, because we're human. Regardless of who tells you that you're fat, regardless of who tells you that you can, and trust me, I get my fair share of fat comments. And it's worse, because I used to have an ED. And, you know, if I never came back from that, then I would just be like Eugenia. if y'all know who Eugenia is, I would, and it's so sad because people will dedicate their time to tearing people down. People will dedicate their time to trying to find your weakness in order to use it against you. And, okay, so you just told me what your weakness is, and you were trying to project one onto me. So isn't that a waste of your own time? Isn't that a waste of your own time? I mean, especially if you're truly, struggling with what you're telling me right now, isn't that a waste of your own time? Like, wouldn't you rather do something that makes you feel better about yourself than trying to make others feel bad about themselves? And it doesn't matter if I'm talking to myself. It doesn't. I enjoy my time. And it sounds like you don't have that same experience. So maybe you should work on that. Emotionally immature. Girl, check yourself. You done ran around on the wrong side. Go tell your friends, too. You gonna talk to me like that because I was just about to give you a pep talk. You could go somewhere else for that now. I was just about to show up for you, and you're just trying to tear me down. And you should be ashamed. And I hope you are. Because I'm tired of showing up for people and meeting them where they are. And I'm tired of compensating for other people and saying, well, you know what? Like, they're having a hard time. They're having a rough day. Okay, well, you know what? Maybe they shouldn't have tried to make me feel awful about myself in the first place. Because then I wouldn't have to give that energy back. Your mama probably raised you that way because she's the same person. And if your mama ain't raised you, then you on the wrong side of yourself, girl. You on the wrong side of yourself. And this is that stuff. This is the exact type of person that I have been talking about my whole 42 minutes and 44 seconds of this life. That is the exact kind of person. Somebody who will try to tread on you because you are honestly feeling pretty good about yourself. So what? You gonna call me fat? Oh my gosh, nobody's ever said that about me before. Whoa, you're so original and authentic. Oh, baby. What am I supposed to do? Hype you up, girl? No, you done wasted my time. You wasted my time. And see, this is the issue about the Wheel of Fortune. This is directly correlated to the Wheel of Fortune because you spent so much time trying to spin the wheel in other people's favor because you didn't want to watch them suffer. And now you're starting to understand that you have to watch people suffer sometimes because they are continuously choosing it. There's nothing you can do about that. And if you try to change it, you're only going to be on the wrong side of the Wheel of Fortune. Because they are choosing the wrong side within themselves, just like I said. You're on the wrong side of yourself. Yeah, laugh while you can. Because you're only hurting yourself. And when you start to genuinely see that, you're going to realize how many people you pushed away. With love, though. But disrespectfully. With love, but disrespectfully. Thoroughly. Are you still here? Are you still here? Talk about who I'm talking to. Girl, you here? And if you're not here, I'm talking to me. Maybe you should try it. Maybe you should have a conversation with yourself because it sounds like you're due for one. And it's funny because you could talk all that smack talk on the keypad. You could talk all that smack talk on the keypad, though. Cute. Cute. Alright. So I have a few cards trying to come out. You're you're trying to affect me with the amount of views that I get, and I already know that I don't get a lot. That's why I'm building. Maybe you should try to build something. Because it sounds like you don't even try to build yourself up. So anyway, I'm talking to myself now. I'm talking to myself. You don't even gotta listen. Mute me, girl. The F? You got the wrong girl. You a joke to me. You got the wrong one. Alright, so basically, I feel like this is not necessarily in correlation to, you know, I mean, soulmate is just kind of given. Like, this is a collective. This is a collective that is really starting to, you know, understand that they have so much to offer. Understand that they have so much to offer, and I'm done with you. So, I'm bored of you because you keep saying the same thing. So, alright. This is a collective that is truly opening up to themselves and understanding how much they have to offer, and within that, you're kind of like falling in love with yourself. What the heck? Like, this is not just about falling in love with somebody else. That is a given. But you're starting to realize how much you have to offer, and how much within that you are already offering yourself. Excuse me. So, this is really turning you into, not even turning you into, opening you up to just this whole variation of yourself that you didn't know that you were. Because you were so busy trying to survive this perpetuated state of abandonment that you were out of balance with everything that you could give yourself. And within that, directly affecting the kind of people that you draw into your life. Because you were attracting these people that were trying to take away from you leaving this perpetuated cycle of abandonment, and you're really starting to see what is here for you. And not that there's anything here in maybe the city that you're in or the town that you're in. Maybe there's nothing there for you. I'm gonna be real. Maybe there is nothing there for you, and maybe it doesn't make any sense because you're not supposed to be there. But you're really starting to understand everything that you have within yourself. And because of that, you're simultaneously pulling your power back in, whether you're ready for it or not. Whether you're ready to pull it in or not, you just are. And this is like a direct link to, I'm hearing consciousness, I'm also hearing confidence. So this is parallel to your confidence and your consciousness and your cautiousness, because you're understanding how much you have to protect within yourself. I mean, this is truly a person that has gone within themselves, outside of themselves, round the back of themselves, and all 10 yards round down to the bottom of their motherfucking pinky toe. I'm trying not to swear, I'm sorry. I mean, I say that, but it's like, I'm gonna do it. I feel like I'm just gonna do it sometimes. So, you are officially leaving the fool's journey. This is like, you know, when I think of the fool, I think of this kind of depth. It's like this depth, right? And and it's funny because it's symbolic. It's always been symbolic to me. So when I think of the fool, I think of like this cliff, obviously. I think of this cliff, and I think, you know, you about to walk off the cliff and everybody's laughing at you because you're walking off the cliff, and they're saying this and they're saying that, and you went crazy, and you blah 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 blah, and you this, and you're Bruno, and we don't talk about him, and all these things. So then you get to the point where you're like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna just jump. And then when you do jump, you fall. I don't even want to say fall. It feels like this floating. It's like this floating. But within that floating, you're treading water and you've become the hermit. So I just feel like the hermit and the fool are kind of intertwined. So you're finally getting to the point where you're coming out of that fool state mentally. And you're no longer saying, "Oh mama, I'm so afraid. I only started walking just yesterday." You're no longer saying that. You're finally understanding that people were attacking you because of how much you had to offer. Because they don't feel like they have the same amount to offer as you do. And see, because it's funny, because you have so much to offer that people spent a ridiculous amount of time fighting over you until they forgot what they were fighting for and they just started fighting each other. So it's not, this is important. It isn't that people forgot about you. It's that they forgot that they were spending all of this time, fighting over someone that is not going to be in their life anyway. They kind of missed that part. So now it's like this projection. This is seriously deep. This is really important. It's like this projection between saying, okay, well, collective doesn't want to be in my life anymore, and they're not around for me to take that out on them, so I'm just going to take it out on the first person that feels the same way about them. So these people are like simultaneously fighting for you and fighting over you because they understand that maybe you didn't move on. Maybe you still want to have that closure with your ex, or maybe you still want to sit down with your parent, whatever it may be. Maybe you still really want that, and that's okay. You can move on from that whenever you're ready to do that. But these are the same people that are physically incapable of meeting you where you are at. Mentally, physically, spiritually, and perspective-wise as well. Because, this is a collective with a perspective of, I'm hearing like a cougar. Like a mountain lion, y'all. Because, you just on some different level type stuff. You have really been spending so much time. I'm hearing you've been spending so much time summoning both sides of yourself in order to disguise yourself in a realm that is unhealthy, unbalanced, and unexperienced. Okay, so you spent so much time trying to figure out how to, it's kind of like, here's an example. It's kind of like the Twilight Princess. When Link finally understands how to switch between the wolf, and he can do that, and he can also become a human whenever he wants. So you finally are, you're getting to the point where you forgot that you were trying to master that. You forgot that you were trying to become that. And you're starting to understand that it's less about mastering, and it's more about just being. It's just more about being and accepting. Because if you're spending so much time trying to wield and master and do and show up and blah, 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 it's just overwhelming and it's unrealistic. And it's only going to hurt you in the long run. Because you're going to be spending so much time trying to be this thing that you don't even really know what that thing is. Because it's not an essence. It's a thing. Excuse me. So it's automatically out of alignment and commission, if you will, with your highest self, because it isn't something that is responsive. It is something that is stagnant. A thing is stagnant. It's just in its own existence. It's not responsive to your body chemistry, right? It's not responsive to the chemistry within yourself. So it's already out of sync with you. Just analyzing. So, yeah, I mean, this is a collective that is finally accepting that, you know, you get to be, and this is the thing, because it is an honor. And people tried to make you feel bad for honoring it, which is so ironic, because they didn't know how to appreciate what they got, so they didn't want you to do that. They didn't want you to do that. So now you're finally honoring, like you're thoroughly accepting how much you appreciate that you have this gift of going between two different dimensions, right? So you spent so much time trying to like show up in this one dimension and show up for like that darkness within yourself and show up for this other side of yourself, that you've been neglecting the other part of yourself that is joy and is life and is plants and is flowers, because you've been spending so much time in the desert. You know, you got the desert and you got just like forest. These are like two sides of yourself. There's honestly, like, this is a whole nother video, but there's so many other sides of yourself. But these are like the two main like backup drivers in your mental car. So like mentally, right? Like you should be the one driving. You, the youest you, should be the one driving all the time. And you know what? If you run into somebody that makes you feel really bad about yourself, sometimes you have to have anger step up. Sometimes you have to have vengeance step up. And this anger is that desert, right? So some other times you have to have, you run into somebody that makes you feel good about yourself. You got to have that loving side show up. Like this is the fertile energy within you, right? Like this is the feminine energy within you. So this is the plants and this is the flowers. And, you know, you spent so much time trying to like do one or the other that you didn't give yourself time to just be both, because you were taught that it was greedy. You were taught that it was greedy, and that could not be further from the truth, because if you do not incorporate every variation of yourself, you're not going to be able to show up as your fullest self for the world when you are trying to integrate and innovate into the future, right? Like you're trying to insist this innovation into the future. Like you can't do that if you don't show up with every part of yourself. So this is important. And that is a hard lesson to teach, but I did my best. That was not an easy one. But I do have this card. Oh, make sure it's the right way. One more time. Okay. We good. I was a little nervous. So, yeah, this is a 10, 9, 2, 10. Okay. This is the 10 of Cups, which is essentially directly in correlation to success, sufficiency, abundance, beauty, joy, all these things that I was just talking about. So, because you're finally accepting that having every part of yourself is not greedy, and you're showing up with these parts of yourself in the world, you're finally experiencing this version of yourself that feels a little more full, that feels a little bit more you, that feels a little bit more excited to wake up in the morning, you know? Like, And this might be a collective that has days that you don't feel excited to wake up in the morning. You don't feel like you can give it your all the next day. You just don't feel like you can be proud of what the world is becoming. But see, this is the thing, because when you are communicating every part of yourself within yourself, it's kind of like Inside Out, if you've ever seen that. You know, you're like trying your best to communicate, literally. You're trying your best, you're doing your hardest work that you can to show up as every like little emotion inside of your head, and like get them to communicate and love each other and be each other's friends. So it's like you're accepting that this is not a greedy thing to do. You're accepting that it's not greedy to literally love yourself. Just because other people did not know how to love themselves, and you physically cannot force somebody to do that if they are not ready to do it. So then you were forced to experience, survivor's guilt, because you knew that you couldn't help these people. So now you're finally just like letting yourself be. You're just letting yourself be, because you spent so much time getting bullied by, I want to say, your family and your friends and people that you considered to be the closest to you, that it kind of rubbed off on you and you started bullying yourself. So then when you kind of like stepped back from that and you just like said, you know what, I really gotta like learn how to talk to myself a little bit nicer. I gotta learn how to show up for myself a little bit kinder. Then it's like I'm getting this feeling of just like letting go of what you were taught hard work and dedication has to be. Like what you were taught balance is the polar antonym of what your frequency is displaying, right? So this kind of forced you to slow down. And it forced you to kind of like judge the innards of yourself. And see, that hermit card I was talking about, because it was like, not only did you become the hermit, but you kind of like accepted that as your fate. You kind of like insisted, you know what, I have to work hard and I have to be this hermit for the rest of my life, and I have to show up this way because, you know, to love myself and to be here for myself and to like be extroverted is, you know, from what I've seen narcissists doing it as, is not a good thing. So it's like, I'm kind of just getting like, you had opposite role models in your life and you forgot that, you know, you forgot that these people were opposite role models, and you got to the point where you got to the point where you kind of forgot that you like looked down on these people. And this isn't necessarily a bad thing. Like, if you are making fun of somebody because, like, you know that their IQ might not be where it could be, that's different. But if you genuinely are, like, looking at somebody and you're saying, you know what, like, you are not on my frequency level, this is not a negative connotation. This is just honesty within yourself. And you have to have that. And it just really depends on how you apply it to your ego. Because you can apply it to your ego and you can say, I'm not going to take advantage of this person because I know that they're not, you know, emotionally intact. I'm not going to make this person feel bad just so that I can feel better about myself, because this person has the IQ of a Cheez-It, and that makes me sad, and I have to accept that. And, you know, it's not that you're bullying them. It's like just this acceptance, you know? So it's like, to accept that and to move with it, it makes your life that much softer. It makes you feel that much lighter. And it makes you feel like you have so much less of a responsibility to tend to, because you are not continuously worried about what the people around you are thinking. Well, good luck. I was so into what I was saying that I didn't respond, but good luck with everything that you're doing. I wish you luck because it's hard when people bully you. It is. And, they just have to learn in their own time. Everybody learns at their own rate in their own time. That's just what it is. And, someday those people might look back and think, well, I didn't really have to treat that person that way. And they're either going to grow from it or they're not. I'm going to tell you, though, I'm going to be honest, a lot of people don't. So don't get your hopes up. And I don't mean just completely put the human race off. Don't write them off, because there is good people. There is good people out here, man. There's real love in this world. There is. But there's a lot of people who don't accept that into their heart because they don't want to accept everything that they have done to other people up to this point. So, hang on. Excuse me. Alright. So I'm gonna just cut the deck one more time. One more time. I'm gonna cut the blah blah blah. I'm gonna cut the deck one more time, and we gonna see what comes out. All right, I'm gonna split it up a little bit more than that, y'all. That was not Benny, baby. All right, yeah, I gotta go pretty soon. I'm struggling. All right, so yeah, a card actually came out, right? So okay, we have the card that came out earlier, and all right, we got 3 cards. We got 3 cards. We got 3 cards. I was just gonna cut it to 1, but now we got burn me bad. So, wait, let me check something. Sorry, y'all. All right. So basically, I'm gonna go in the order that they came out. So first and foremost, I'm just getting it's funny because I'm getting Collective is kind of this person that can literally go in between being what is perceived as emotional immaturity. So you can go between that, but you can also step up for yourself and you can be this mature and I want to say materialize, this, excuse me, this embodied version of everything, not necessarily that you've went through, but everything that has kind of made you into the diamond that you are. This is the pressure that has made the diamond. That's not an original quote. Somebody told me that. Somebody told me it was so beautiful. I'll never forget it. Somebody told me that their biggest goal in life was to be refined to the point where they are this beautifully cut diamond, It was better when they said it. I just gave you a really short version, a short-cutted version there. But it was really amazing. Anyway, it's basically, that's the energy that I'm getting, is that you're going from being you know what, am I capable of this? I'm just pulling now. I'm just pulling now. It's coming out. It's coming to me, y'all. So you go from I don't know what I did. I don't know if I can do that. I'm not sure if blah blah blah. So you're going from that to, okay, well, you know what? I went from not being sure of myself to really understanding how much I have to offer, and within that, I'm really thoroughly seeing why I went through the things that I went through. And no, some things just don't friggin' make any sense. But sometimes you go through those things that don't make any sense to understand how much sense you make to yourself. So y'all keep it cool, comment, class.